Welcome back, Chime In Nation, and for listening to another episode of What About It podcast. This is one of my favorites called Listening to the Whispers. And it just so happens to be a trilogy. And this is the first episode of 3. And this one is called The Sickness of Anticipation. Today we need to dismantle the single biggest lie told by modern hustle culture. We have all been fed this absolute garbage bullshit myth that pure force and will can bend time. The internet gurus tell you that if you just work harder, faster, scream louder, and push faster, you can force the clock to move. But if you're a high-stakes leader, you already know the brutal reality. That's not going to happen. Eventually, the work is done, and the pitch is sent. The proposal is submitted, and the final offer is sitting on someone else's desk. And suddenly, you hit a total terrifying blackout. Right then and there, in that exact moment, you have zero leverage over the clock. Most people lose their minds here. Now, I have a couple of times. But this waiting room is not an empty vacuum. It is an execution test of your physiological endurance. And how you handle it determines whether you win or whether you completely destroy your own fucking deal. Let's call this what it actually is. Anticipation is a real sickness. It is not positive excitement. The second you lose control over the timeline, letting your mind obsess over what happens next, is the severe psychological leak. Every single time you refresh your inbox, every single time you stare at your phone looking if a text has come in, or waiting for the phone to ring, you're bleeding out. And it drains your focus and it fractures your attention. It completely castrates your ability to function effectively in the present moment. And if you're stuck sitting in the waiting room and you're letting your brain spin out of control or create new scenarios, you aren't preparing. Truth of the matter is you're fucking infected. You are actively letting a future timeline rob you of your current power. Which brings us to the next concept, which is the law of the ghost leverage. The exact second you choose to obsess over an outcome, you subconsciously signal to yourself that you cannot survive without it. You create a ghost in the room. Desperation has a smell. And when you need the deal too much, you strip away your own authority. You surrender all of your leverage before you even open your mouth to renegotiate or to negotiate again. If the person on the other side of the table senses that your internal stability depends on their answer as being yes, they own you. And which brings us to concept 3, the anxiety has a backstory. Look, the sheer panic you feel while sitting in this information blackout is not necessarily actually caused by the current deal. It's a trick, a mind trick, a trigger. Anxiety always has a backstory. The terror that you're feeling right now is likely a shadow cast by an unaddressed failure from your past. It's the ghost of the business that went under, the client that walked away, or the investor who burned you. To survive this blackout, you have to be clinical. You must identify that old ghost, call it by its name, and completely isolate it from the hard objective data of your present situation. Do not let your past trauma rewrite your current contract. Which brings us to the concept 4, the sanctuary trap. I want you to look closely at your own life right now, because the sickness of anticipation has a very specific pattern for all of us. When the stakes are agonizingly high and we lose control of the big picture, our instinct is to flee into micro-control. I see this all the time with high performers. I have a close friend right now who is trapped in an ultimate high-stakes blackout. It's a massive family crisis has taken over her home. Life feels chaotic, and she's waiting on a heavy medical verdicts from a cancer clinic while trying to run her company at the same time. And do you know what the sickness whispers to her? Tells her to run. Run what you know. And that's telling her to run and hide in her work. The sickness says the apartment is too crowded. The family drama is too loud. Go rent a clean hotel room just for 30 days. Get a stone throw away from the office. Stay on dry land where there are no bridges or delays and no obstacles. Go somewhere where you can just sit and knock the shit out and feel powerful again. Now ask yourself, what are you doing? The exact same thing? Because using your work as a sanctuary to escape a waiting room isn't strength. It's a strategic retreat disguised as productivity. We build these office bunkers because we cannot stomach the raw friction of sitting in the dark. It's difficult. It's not easy, but it's probably worth it. You're just not getting there yet. And whether you're running to a hotel room or deep into spreadsheets or hiding behind an endless to-do list while you wait for a client to call you back, hear me clearly. It's a beautiful lie. Putting your business first because your personal world is fracturing isn't necessarily leadership. It's using your desk to hide from the blackout. Which brings us to concept 5. Grit means just this, in this instance, sitting on your hands. Everyone wants to talk about grit like it's an accelerator pedal. They think grit means pushing harder, running faster to a new environment, waking up earlier, and making more noise. They're wrong. When a transaction, a verdict, or a life-changing answer is entirely out of your hands, grit is not about speed or relocation or doing more. True grit is the raw, agonizing muscle of self-restraint. It is the discipline to stay completely silent during a total information blackout. It is the stomach to sit on your hands, stay in the crowded, messy room of reality, and leave the friggin' phone on the desk. Any coward can flee to an office bunker because they can't take the silence of the waiting period. It's difficult, but it's worth it. It takes real power to hold the line, face the chaos, face the music, and say absolutely nothing. So what about it? What are you going to do the next time the screen goes dark? You separate your past growth from your current data. You stop treating a timeline like an enemy you can bully into submission or run away from. Real grit is not about moving faster or finding a cleaner sanctuary. It is the raw power to remain deeply disciplined when you are left completely in the dark. Shut your mouth, sit on your hands, and master the room. Thank you for chiming in to the first episode of 3, listening to the whispers. Kisewatisiwin. Be kind.